The rain started just as I pulled into Emma's driveway. She had texted only 3 words. "Can you come?" No explanation. No emojis. Just that. Emma had been my best friend since college. She was the strongest person I knew, the kind who smiled through heartbreak, laughed through layoffs, and never asked anyone for help. So when she opened the front door wearing an oversized sweater and fake smile, I knew something was terribly wrong. "I'm okay," she said before I could ask. I looked past her. Half the living room was empty. The family photos were gone. The piano she'd loved since childhood had disappeared. What happened? She shrugged. Ryan moved out. My stomach dropped. "You mean, today?" She nodded. "While I was at work." I stepped inside. Boxes lined the hallway. The walls looked strangely bare, like the house had already forgotten they had ever been a family. Emma walked into the kitchen and poured coffee with shaking hands. "He took almost everything." "The furniture?" She forced a laugh. "Not everything." She pointed toward an old gray couch. "He said I could keep that." I wanted to call Ryan every name I knew. Instead I asked quietly, "Where are the kids?" "At my sister's." I told her it was just for one night. Her voice cracked on the last word. For several minutes neither of us spoke. The silence hurt more than any argument. Finally I said, "I'll help you pack." Or unpack. Or scream. She smiled for the first time. "You've always been terrible at cheering people up." "I know. But you always show up." We spent hours folding clothes, carrying boxes, and pretending everything would somehow make sense tomorrow. Around midnight I grabbed my keys. I should head home. Emma quickly stood. "You don't have to. I'll check on you first thing in the morning." She nodded. "Of course." I reached the door. Behind me came the quietest voice I'd ever heard from her. "So?" I turned around. She wasn't crying. She looked far worse. She looked completely exhausted. "My best friend took the couch," she whispered, trying to smile. "I'm fine." Then her smile disappeared. "Please stay tonight." Those 4 words terrified me more than tears ever could. Something inside her was breaking. And I suddenly realized Ryan hadn't taken the most valuable thing when he left. He had left Emma believing she was completely alone. Part 2, the night that changed everything. I put my keys back on the table. "I'm not going anywhere." Emma's shoulders relaxed for the first time all evening. I didn't want to ask. "You just did." And real friends don't leave." She laughed softly before covering her face. Then the tears finally came. Not polite tears. Not movie tears. Years of exhaustion poured out at once. "I tried so hard," she sobbed. "I changed jobs for him, moved cities, gave up my promotion, kept forgiving him." I sat beside her. "You don't have to defend yourself." I wasn't enough. I looked directly into her eyes. "No. You were carrying enough for 2 people." That night we didn't sleep much. We talked until sunrise. She admitted Ryan had secretly emptied their savings account months earlier. He'd convinced her every argument was somehow her fault. He'd isolated her from friends. Except he couldn't separate her from me. The next morning her sister arrived with the kids. 6-year-old Lily ran straight into Emma's arms. "Mommy, are you okay?" Emma looked at her daughter, then at me. For the first time since I'd arrived, her answer was honest. "I'm getting there." The following weeks were hard. There were lawyers. Bank meetings. Custody hearings. Unexpected bills. Some nights Emma wanted to give up. Every time she did, someone showed up. Me. Her sister. Neighbors. Old friends Ryan had pushed away years ago. One evening we carried the ugly gray couch to the curb. Emma laughed. I hate this thing. So do I. The garbage truck picked it up the next morning. It felt strangely symbolic. She wasn't throwing away furniture. She was throwing away the life built on fear. Months later Emma invited everyone to dinner in her newly decorated home. The walls were filled with family photos again. The piano had been replaced with a second-hand one that sounded slightly out of tune. The kids danced around the living room. Emma looked happier than I'd seen in years. As everyone prepared to leave, she handed me a small framed picture. It showed the two of us sitting on that terrible gray couch the morning after Ryan left. On the back she'd written, "The night I asked you to stay wasn't because I was afraid of being alone. It was because I needed someone to remind me that I wasn't." I hugged her without saying a word. Some people think friendship is about celebrating the good days. They're wrong. Real friendship is sitting beside someone on the worst night of their life, until they remember the sunrise still belongs to them. And sometimes, the most life-changing words you'll ever hear aren't, "I love you." They're simply, "Please stay tonight."